Hey, what's happening, guys? Well, just kind of hanging out in the shop tonight. It's a Saturday night, and this is kind of my time just to kind of hang back in the shop and just kind of tinker around and get some little stuff done while it's, while I can enjoy my free time. I work so much during the week, and I'm a dad and a husband, so this is kind of like my quiet time. So anyhow, I kind of reached back on Facebook a while back and just kind of threw it out there, KDK versus Aloris style tool post, and just kind of get everyone's feedback, and it was all pretty unanimous across the board. KDK are nice, Aloris are nice. Some people like one, some people like the other. But the tool holders, that's where it kind of split down the middle. The KDKs are a little harder to come by. I mean, sure, we could make them, but there's so much available in the Aloris line, and this is for my Cadillac, my 14x40 Cadillac lathe, and it came with a tool post, and this is what it came with. It came with a KDK 200 series, and it's nice. I've already gave it the treatment, take it all apart, throw it in the ultrasonic, clean it up, give it a little, derusting, and oiled it and put it all back together, and it does work nice. And I think I got 5 or 6 tool holders for it, a boring bar holder, and a couple of just miscellaneous tool holders, and they're kind of unique in the sense that you could flip them over. For example, here's your tool post here, and you slide it on, and it's got a height stop. There's a set screw that comes in through the bottom, actually through the top, and it positions itself on this dowel pin here. So you set it in here, and here you'd use a turning or a facing or whichever the case may be, but then you could flip it over, and it has another tool height adjustment. You can clamp another tool there, so it's kind of unique in that sense. So you got a tool here, and then you flip it over, and you got another one here or here. You see it's got different sets of set screws for different uses, and there are a couple of different. Here's a little smaller one. Get on there, and so they are nice, but it's just not what I was familiar with. I've had the Aloris type tool post for so long, and that's just kind of what I got used to. So I mean, there it is there. So anyhow, they're nice, but it kind of kept me thinking. So then I started looking. Well, what size would I want if I went with an Aloris? And I started looking around, and it's I think it's I was either on the upper end of a BXA or the bottom end of a CXA. So naturally, I said, I think I got to go CXA. In case I upgrade lathes, if I get a nice collection of tool holders, maybe this will follow me from lathe to lathe, because they're not cheap. Certainly not going to buy new, and there's quite a market on eBay. So started looking, and well, that's what I ended up with. I found a very nice CXA Aloris brand, and it was in great shape. Just had a lot of. It appeared to have a lot of sit time. There was a lot of build up in all the little tracks and channels, and all the. It was just. It wasn't new, but it was far from beat up. Nothing was scorn or dented in any way. So that's what I ended up with. And I thought, if I'm going to go through the trouble to clean it up and give it the old once over, why not share it? Some people have never seen the inside of one of these things. So here we are, and this is after it's had, some time in the ultrasonic, some degreaser, cleaning itself up, and then it goes in some, rust inhibitor And this is where I don't go for, you know, perfect shiny polished finish. I just want clean, and I want all the mating surfaces to slide well and, you know, hold oil and all that good stuff. So that's where we're at. And I've been kind of scouring all the typical avenues for tool holders. Before I made the decision on the CXA, I went out to a all industrial tool, which is local to me, and I picked up one of the import tool holders. This is a CXA sized import tool holder, and they're pretty cheap. I mean, it's $25 for a holder brand new. This one will do, I believe, 3/4 inch tools, and it's got the slot for a boring bar as well. And I kind of set this on the compound and brought it up to the chuck and kind of sized it up, and that's when I knew it was going to be CXA. So that was kind of the way I determined the size in the end. Just buying one tool holder and kind of moving it around the lathe. So anyhow, that's what I ended up. So I'll just kind of put it back together. This is the way I do it when I bust things down and put them back. So everything's been cleaned, but now I don't want to reassemble it without getting a good coat of oil on all the surfaces, just to, you know, keep it happy in time. So this is it. I might speed this up, I might not. I'm usually pretty liberal with it, and then you know, I'll wipe off the excess, and then I have a little brush nearby to get in all the little nooks and crannies and the threads. You know, as always, there's someone out there going, "Oh, what the hell is he doing that for? He's not using the right material. He's not doing it the right way. He's not doing it the way I would do it." But anyhow, this is how I do it. I don't buy anything new, by the way. I figure, why? If you buy quality parts, you could buy used parts and tools and get plenty of life out of them. It's just not necessary to buy new. Besides, I didn't have $600 to drop on a new tool post, which is about what they go for, without any holders, by the way. Now, your average holder, brand new, I think it's about $100 for a CXA. So, I mean, eBay. So, with this being said, the KDK will go up on the chopping block to kind of recoup some of this. Alright. That's that. This is my therapy. I work anywhere between, I don't know, 12 to 14 hours a day on average, and I'm driving probably 4 to 5 hours a day. I'm behind the wheel, and then I get home and it's, you know, it's dinner and dishes and laundry and kids, and trying to spend some time with my son and my daughter. You know, they grow up so fast, you try to catch your little glimpses when you can. And you know, this is a hobby. I'm a hobbyist, so this is my playtime. I used to do motorcycles, and you know, I was putting together Harleys and making parts for Harleys, and that was fun. But yeah, I kind of grew out of it. I still love them. I'll have another one day. I'd like to get probably I don't know, something in the mid 70s to mid 80s shovel head Harley. I just like the looks and the feel. I had a real early pan head. I had a CFL for a while, kind of in the height of all that stuff. It's fun bikes, but nowadays, you know, I'm looking at more comfortable bikes, you know, baggers and touring bikes, and not just Harleys. Just like riding. One thing with Harleys is you're always kind of monkeying with them. Of course, I've never had new ones, so. But you know, I think that's part of the gig. You get into something like that, and you gotta expect to. You know, when you're anything that's 30, 40 years old, you're gonna be wrenching on it. But if anyone knows me, that's part of the love. When I took this thing apart, I was quite surprised how well these things are made. I guess I shouldn't be, for what you pay for them, and you know, what kind of abuse these things will take in their lifetime. But everything's just so beautifully machined. It's actually not a lot of money when you think about it in that respect. Just appreciate the craftsmanship that goes in well-made parts. I have an import AXA on my little 10-inch closing lathe. I should take that apart just to compare the two. But that might get expensive, because then I'll be online looking for an Aloris. But it's served me well for years. I've had it in there for years, and it's not used on a daily basis, or maybe it wouldn't have lasted that long. But it's worked. So I've been contemplating what direction, you know, I haven't really gotten my YouTube channel kind of going. I've threatened to for years and years, but just haven't really pulled the trigger. I haven't really found what it is I want to do, and you know, if there's a such thing as contributing to the machining YouTube community. I mean, there's so many good channels out there, you know, for information. I mean, yeah, I'm not the guy to go to for that. You know, I have a face for radio and a voice for, I don't know, comic books or something. I don't know. But you know, I don't know. I find the things that I find myself watching aren't always instructional. They're not always educational. Sometimes it's for entertainment value. So, and sometimes you just want to peer into somebody else's shop and see what they got going on. See how they do things. You know, I've picked things up from guys that are, you know, half my age and don't have a fraction of the things that I've acquired over the years, and they just come up with little ways of doing things where it just hits you. It's like, duh, that's just kind of cool. That kind of works. And then, of course, the wealth of knowledge you get from the guys that do this stuff for a living. They've made it a career, and some of them are in their shop doing it as hobby now. And it's, you know, seeing these guys that have been machinists and tool makers that are retired after, you know, 30, 40 years. Now they're in their garage shop with just a little lathe, but some of the things that they crank out, it's just boggling to the mind. That's what I love. I've always gravitated towards you know, experienced people that have kind of been there and done that and make it look easy. I've always gravitated towards that. So, alright, let's see this thing. Man, some of these parts, just the grinds on these, all the attention to detail. They've even got them stamped left and right, which is good because I would have had to learn the hard way, I'm sure. So we flip this bad boy around. So So we're right side up. And here's your left. Yeah, put it in the right way. And there's your right. Let's see if we can get this in the first time. Look at that thread. It's like a, what is it? Double start. And it's kind of like an Acme thread. It's not a square cut. Let's see if we get this in the right way the first time. There we go. I mean, just dead simple, but it's always simple when someone else does the design. Very nice. And this thing, it was in there good. I had to make a tool to fit these little slots here. It even sounds like it fits good, right? Hardened surfaces coming together. That's nice. You know, I forgot something already. I hear guys talking about, you know, when you're filming and you're talking and you're BSing, you always seem to forget the little things. So let's take this dog back out. Where are you at? Let's get that position there. They give you this little guy here. He's a little, I'm sure it's to mitigate some of the dust ingress. It's just a little cotton deal here. We're gonna soak it down with some oil. I'll work that in there. And then we'll get it back down in there. I haven't showed what the shop looks like. As some of you guys know, I've been moving stuff into the shop since I completed it. I still don't have permanent power in the shop. I had a visit from a couple friends, and some of you guys may have seen that on another channel. And they were gracious enough to take their time to come hang out with me for a while, and we kind of looked at my power needs and what direction I thought I might go based on what I have and what I want to bring into the mix. And then life happened, and it's not going to be in the cards financially for a short time, so I'm going to have to make some adjustments in that department. But it is coming. For now, I have a 30 amp circuit in my garage, and you know, I have about a 200-foot chunk of SO cord running from my garage clear to the shop, and it's you know, plenty enough to give me a bunch of lighting, and I could power some machines up and get some stuff done. It'll run a little. I have a 10 horsepower phase converter that I made years ago, and it runs that okay. So I could run all the machines, probably not under full load, but nonetheless I could crank things over. And in the meantime, I'm kind of going through the Cadillac lathe and getting everything cleaned up. I'm not going for a full restore, just a good cleaning for the most part. And of course that's what this is going on, but it's coming along nicely. I found one shear pin for the gear train for the threading lead screw. Yeah, threading lead screw, because it would work, but under a little bit of load it would just slip. And usually you got a little shear pin that's right in that lead screw up towards the headstock, but it wasn't there So I took the lid off and started looking at the gears. Everything looked good in there. So trial and error, I found that one of the gears on the side, that gear set on the Cadillac, you could flip some of these gears around to do some metric threading. And one of those gears, I noticed that as the hey, get in there. When I was turning it by hand, I noticed that the center of the gear wasn't moving; it was stationary, and the outer portion the inner portion was spinning, the outer wouldn't. So I took the whole thing apart and had to press it apart. Sure enough, it was about an 1/8 inch shear pin that wasn't visible from the outside. It was between the inner collar of that gear and the gear itself. So I matched up the material the best I could. I had some it was like 3/16 welding rod. It was some bronze, I believe, and machined that down to fit it nicely, and that's what I went with. I just used a file to kind of compare hardnesses on the two materials, and I figured, what the hell, it'll work for now. Fit well, and it seems to work well. Of course, I haven't threaded anything heavy with it, just kind of monkeying with it. I'm still going through the machine. I'll give you guys a peek at it here after a bit and kind of go from there. So you see I'm wiping all this off, but I'm leaving plenty behind to keep this thing from flashing up on me. When I got it all in this area, was just packed with chips, of course. It all came out nice. One thing in the ultrasonic with some degreaser, when using it, of course, the label came off the front. And that, Aloris tag. I might reach out and see if they'll send me another one or something. That whole pride of ownership thing. So anyhow, that's what we got, and of course it just I don't know how it could be tight and smooth at the same time. It just feels so nice. Let's see. I've been trying to scrape up as many Aloris tool holders as possible. These two I got, these two are here, I got from one seller, and they've been cut open to 1 inch capacity, which is cool, because I've had to open up a few on my AXA to fit some tooling, and chances are I would have maybe wanted to do that myself anyhow. Aloris does, for the CXA, the standard tool holder goes up to, I believe it's 3/4 inch. Here's the CXA 2. This one does have the little V groove at the bottom for your boring bar. But they do make like an extra large version. I'm not sure the number, but it is cut out for a 1 inch. And, yeah, so that's cool. Comparing the two, comparing the import to the Aloris brand, I mean, I'm sure these would be fine. I'm getting these used. You can still get these for half of what I'm buying these used for. The Aloris brand. And to be honest, I don't know if I could tell the difference. So, once I start getting some seat time with this lathe and I'm running it, I'll weigh it out and see, maybe I just want to start buying some of these things. Price is right, that's for sure. So I got so far I've got 4 just kind of standard shank tool holders, and let's see. I got a parting tool, and I've still got to put it back together, but of course it's got the wedge, and it was missing the height adjustment screw before it. And this one, it had kind of somebody's homebrew version, and I happened to find a guy that has a couple Aloris height adjustment assemblies, and I bought them both from him. So those are both coming, and those will go in here, and we'll be back to like original state. So that's cool. And here's a boring bar holder that I got. This one will do kind of looks like a 1 inch. I believe you could sleeve it down to 3/4 inch. And then I got another one coming that's 1.25 inch boring bar. So I think between these two and a couple of these tool holders with the V notch going down the center that I could use for smaller boring bars, I think I'll be good to go here for a while. But you guys know how it is once you start buying tools. I think I'm up to like, I don't know, 18 holders for my AXA on my little closing, and I probably wouldn't mind having a couple others. So anyhow, well, I think that's it for the most part. I do have the knob for it, and I remember there was a reason why some of these Aloris, some of the newer ones, have this tapped hole on the side, and I can't remember what that was for. Maybe you guys could let me know in the comments. It's not a through hole. I know some of these quick change were compatible with coolant, but this doesn't. I don't think this is the case. No, it's not. Otherwise, it would have the hole. I've seen those, and they've got the tool holders. You got a passageway that runs through the tool holder itself. So anyhow, yeah, let me know. I noticed it's got this hole in the bottom. Looks like a 3/8. I'm guessing that's so you could possibly dowel this into position on your on the machine. I'm guessing that's what that would be for. I don't know if you guys know what that would be for. Let me know. So anyhow, that's the tool post. And as far as the KDK, I mean, it works good, and it's well made. I'm sure I would have been fine with it, and sure I could scrape up more tool holders or make some more, but I don't know. I just liked the Aloris type. And one thing I kind of couldn't get past on the KDK style is the tool has so much. It's extended much further away from the tool post. Now I know they've been using these on machines for, I don't know, probably 40-50 years or something, so I'm sure it's just psychological on my part, but it just seems like a lot of tools stick out. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure I am. But anyhow, if anyone's interested in a user refurbished 200 series KDK tool post with, I think I had 5 or 6 tool holders to go with it, all a little bit different, let me know. And I've already gone through and changed all the set screws out because being used / abused, all the set screws were all cobbled up. So I got good American made set screws, good quality hardware. So it's ready to go. I could throw it up on eBay, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm fighting off the hoarding side of me that says just hold on to it and stick it in a drawer somewhere, but I'm not in that position to hoard everything. as I look around and the shop looks like, I don't know what the shop looks like, but anyhow. Well, I think that's gonna wrap this one up. I'm gonna make another one as another video for like a shop update, and maybe I'll show you the tool post on the lathe itself and give you a look and see how far I am with the Cadillac. I'm kind of working myself, from the top to bottom, starting with the carriage, compound, that whole everything's been gone through, taken apart, cleaned in the ultrasonic, de-rusted, all the mating surfaces stoned over and oiled and put back together, and it works great. I mean, everything's really in really good condition. The machine itself looks really rough from the outside, but I think I'm going to be happy with it. It's going to be a nice fit in the shop. So anyhow, thanks for hanging. Talk to you guys down the road. See ya.